Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good. So I'm joined today by the lovely Shareen. So Shareen is a property investor from Wolverhampton, and I wanted to have her on my channel for the Women in Property series. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
So I'm not a property investor through and through by the way that I started. I'm a primary school teacher. I've been teaching for a number of years. And when I had my children, I was a deputy head teacher, and I never got to see my own children. You know, they were quite young at the time, and I was working really busy, working constantly. And my husband, who's quite a well-known property investor, was busy. He had lots of new things happening and lots of sort of things happening in his career that were just crucial to sort of, it needed the momentum and the time.
Yeah.
So it tended to sort of be me that was still doing pickups and drop-offs, etc. So I made the bold move to call it a day on teaching for a little while, which was really hard because I'm quite independent. I like having my own things, my own career, my own identity, and to kind of go from that to then just being somebody's mum to then just being somebody's wife was really hard.
Yeah.
But you know, it was the right decision. And then I just found myself at home and going from sort of a really high-flying career to just making lunches and And all, you know, when I'd sort of first met my husband, and we'd often talk about, well, you know, if you weren't in property, what would you do? And if you weren't in teaching, what would you do? And I would always say, I'd love to be in interior design. I'd love to do interior style.
Yeah.
And then when it got to the point of when I was evaluating my life and going, right, well, what am I now? I thought, right, what would I love to be? If everything went right in my life, where would I be? What would I do? So nervously signed up to an interior design course at college, and when I got there I sort of realised that I knew more than they did, just purely because out of interest, and you read magazines and you follow blogs and you know you do all these things. So I sort of thought, oh, actually I'm not too bad at this, I know a little bit. And then getting into property, my husband had been trying to convince me for years to go into property with him. And I was like, no, I don't know enough about it. I don't know how to do this. And even when it came to our mortgage, I was like, literally, just tell me where to sign. I'm happy to do that bit.
Yeah.
Don't ask me anything else. Don't know anything about it. And last year, he had said, someone's come to me with a deal, right? You're not committed to it in the sense that we need to go off and get a mortgage and do all of that now.
Yeah.
Right, it goes, so in that respect, it goes, risk-wise, it's quite low, which sort of enticed me. I was like, right, okay, how does it work then? And he goes, it's rent to rent or a lease option here. He goes, so it's a little holiday home in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And he goes, the guy wants to sell it. And he goes, and I've spoken to him and I've said, you know, I've given him a lease option or a rent to rent. What do you think? And my initial reaction was, I've never been to Cornwall. I was just like, can we not pick one in Dubai? So it was a case of, right, let's go view it. Let's go view the property. Let's go and have a look at it. And we talked about it, and he talked me through how the deal works and you know what happens after 5 years or 7 years, and you know, setting all of that. So that was probably my first introduction into property investing.
Yeah.
Went down, saw the place, and as soon as we kind of went in, I thought, yeah, it's got potential.
Yeah.
I can work with this.
Yeah.
So we did the deal with him. He was happy. He got what he wanted out of it. And you know, we took a team of builders down from the Midlands. I did all the buying and everything. I knew what I wanted. I think a lot of places in Cornwall, they're very blue and they're very coastal, which is nice, but I didn't want that. I was like, I wanted grey, I wanted chic, I wanted white, I wanted clean, I wanted luxury. And that's the look we went for. So sourced everything from, you know, the Midlands, took the builders down. I'd gone for a couple of days. They joined us and they were there for 2 days. They worked 2 days solid, and just put everything up for me, shelving, because it was bare brick. I mean, I'm not sure what the developers, when they looked at their interior design, it's like a massive wall and then a tiny picture above the sofa. And,
oh wow.
So it needed a little bit of a bit of a sprucer.
Yeah.
So we did that, and within a couple of weeks, you know, we had our first, we went straight onto Airbnb, booking.com and all the major places, and self-managed. And my strategy was, no, because I was still really nervous, I was like, oh, I don't know how to, I've never let a holiday home, I've never done anything in property.
Yeah.
And my strategy was, I'll give it 6 months to self-manage. If in 6 months I'm still worrying about everything, I'll give it to a property management company.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I won't have to worry about it. And I didn't have to. We were completely booked up over the summer. You know, our rates were higher than Host Seasons, who own the rest of the site. And, you know, we were getting repeat bookings, so we did incredibly well.
Oh,
and
amazing.
In terms of my time, very little of my time was actually invested in it.
Yeah.
We set everything up with, you know, with land registry and everything else, so it was all sort of done legal side, and it was fun.
Yeah.
It was, very little. And then this year, the husband once again said, would you mind helping me with something? And I think he knows that I'm really nervous about sort of, you know, committing to a big project. And he said, I'm just taking over a property. He goes, it's a rent to rent. And he goes, so I don't want to spend much on it because we're not going to own it. So he goes, there's no point spending loads on it. I just need you to make it look good on a budget.
Yeah.
So, all right, okay, I can do that. And then that turned into, can you project manage it? Can you do the cash flows? Can you work out, is it going to be better for us to do this and this and this? So, I guess I'm quite a nervous property investor at the start of my journey.
Yeah, but you're like getting into it more, and I guess you've taken on more responsibility from the first deal to the second deal.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm still learning, still constantly learning, and I'll go back and I'll go, so tell me about this and how does that work? But you know, in the time that I've been married to my husband, I've listened to a lot of what he said, just from hearing conversations and hearing him, you know, whether he's booking viewings and talking to people about, you know, you get this in the room and this is included, this isn't included, that happens. And so I guess I've probably subconsciously heard a lot of it and been surrounded by it.
Yeah.
And I know when I've spoken to other people, they've gone, oh, is it easy for you? You're married to Ash? And I've gone, no, I get the least amount of time from him because he's talked property all day. He's not going to come home and school me on HMOs.
Yeah.
So a lot of it has just been learning and just finding out from other people, investors, finding out from him and just kind of piecing it all together and going, right, I can do this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what have been the key things you've learned along the way?
From an interior design perspective, I think I've learned that it doesn't always have to be new. It doesn't have to be a cookie cutter approach. A lot of, in our latest project, we've got 6 bedrooms, and I think we're probably going to do a mixed approach in terms of we've got 5 bedrooms that can be tenanted and 1 running as an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And I think what I've learned is, you know, some people say, you know, if you buy the most expensive stuff, it's going to last forever. I'm sure that's true, but there's probably so many people that have pre-loved things at home and they're decorating, and they've got a double bed frame there, and it's brand new or, you know, very good condition, and it's just sat there. You know, to me, I've sold things in the past, and you probably have as well. You know, you get rid of things and you're like, it's in perfect condition, and barely used. So I thought, right, I'm just going to look at that. So Facebook Marketplace, went on there, and pretty much sinks I got off there. People had brand new sinks that they'd bought for a project and they didn't fit. They'd been left in the garage for a year. Went and picked those up, £25, and they were tabletop sinks. Incredible taps. A lady had a tap down in Reading, and it was a beautiful sort of matte black tap that she bought once ago and didn't use, and it's just been sat there. Paid for the courier, got it shipped up here, and I paid £15 for it.
Yeah, so there's like bargains to be had.
Absolutely. Just sort of look. I know that can't work for everybody, especially when you're on a time budget, but with us, it was a case of, because I could dedicate all my time to interiors, that's what I did. So I was like, right, okay, let's think room by room. I'd create a spreadsheet, what each room needed, and then next to it, what job needed to be done in that room and what other job needed to be considered. I'd have a spreadsheet for each room, and it would get taped to the door, and that way I could go, right, okay, I've got the bed for this room, I've got the sofa, right, the flooring's coming in that day. And that was one of my easiest ways to project manage both myself and share that with the team as well. So look for bargains out there, look for pre-loved, and if you get a bed and it's a metal frame, etc., and you don't like the looks of it, £6, buy yourself some spray paint, some primer, get in your garden, spray it up, brand new.
And it'll be fine.
Frog tape was another huge discovery of mine. Absolutely love it. It's everywhere.
What is it?
So it's tape. So it's like masking tape, but it's made for decorators. So when you put it on the wall and you paint over it, when you peel it off, it gives you a crisp line.
Okay.
Because normally you get that bleed underneath.
Yeah.
So it gives you a completely crisp line. So if you're upcycling furniture, you can frog tape, say, a chevron pattern on it, paint over it, and while it's still wet, you peel it away. And you get a really good design, and it's just the easiest way to upcycle walls, furniture, everything. So
creative.
That was a really good way of doing it. I think it comes from like being a teacher where you have like yoga pots and all this good rubbish, and you're just like, right, I need to create a castle. I need a castle this week for my role play.
Yeah.
So you just learn to be resourceful.
Yeah.
So with this project, it was just all about, right, what can I buy pre-loved? What can I source? What can I find in clearance? I'd called in quite a few favours from people that I'd just literally caught chatting to, say, oh, you know, what do you do? And where do you work? Oh, you work at Dreams, right? Can I use your staff discount? No, but you know, he'd often tell me about when they have a lot of mattresses or beds that have been returned unopened, but the customer has received the bed and they've gone, changed my mind, and it literally has been in their house for like a metre within their house, and they've taken it back. They can't really sell it at the same price, so it goes into their factory. So I would then say to him, what have you got in terms of your beds?
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that's come back and that's in clearance, what have you got? And, you know, do a deal with him. Upholsterer, find a good upholsterer. You don't need a new sofa when you can just get it reupholstered.
Yeah.
I found a little place in Worcestershire that they buy a lot of ex-hotel furniture from boutique hotels.
Yeah.
And so I just went, and they charged sort of £10 delivery, which was nothing.
Yeah.
And I got these amazing like chaise lounge, but really kind of quite modern ones.
Yeah.
Got them reupholstered, and they went straight in the room.
Amazing.
So lots of things like that. And then bargain with everybody.
Yeah.
What can you do that for? Is that my favourite sentence? Can you not do anything on that? And just go to suppliers. Don't necessarily go to Homebase and B&Q. You know, go use some of the smaller brands like Rayton's, Carver's, Screwfix, like some of the other sort of more building suppliers.
Yeah.
And once again, just buy pre-loved when you can.
Yeah,
a bit of paint,
definitely.
a bit of super glue in the joints to make sure it doesn't fall apart.
You'll be fine.
You're good.
Yeah. So you've definitely found something that you really like love to do. I can tell how passionate you are about it. Yeah.
It's don't get me wrong, it is not all, you know, perfect, and especially when you're working with somebody that you see when you get home. We've had some quite tense moments.
Yeah.
And there, you know, I'm not gonna lie, there have been days when I'm going, why am I doing this? This is awful. I can just go back to school where nobody shouts at me and nobody does all these things. I can just, you know, I can teach. But I think that last day, you know, when you lock that front door and you walk away and you go, I made all of this happen. That painting is because I made somebody so yeah, I think that feeling kind of brings it all together.
Yeah, definitely. And tell us about some of the challenges you've had along the way.
I think budget restrictions in terms of working with somebody who does the investing side of it, and he deals with the capital, and you know, my husband loves a spreadsheet. Absolutely loves a spreadsheet. So I have to put all my expenses on pretty much daily. Yeah. He would like it daily, it doesn't always happen. You know, and he set the budget from the start. And unfortunately, we did go over the budget, but there are lots of things that happen, like the whole house had to be rewired.
Right. Okay.
And that is an additional cost that you don't anticipate. So I think have a realistic budget is probably my advice. You know, not what is ideal for you or what you can afford. You're going to go over. So I think having a realistic budget is really important. Other things that I've sort of learned, or mistakes that we've made, don't buy too early. You never know in terms of like style-wise how things are going to turn out and things are going to change. Have a vision, you know, always have a vision, put your ideas down, but things do change, and it's about sort of being fluid with it and saying, like, how can we make this work? And I think, there were lots of sort of issues that we came across. I think budget restrictions and little things like I would have loved to have sort of sanded the parquet floor, the original wood floor that was in the building. From a style perspective, but I knew that was going to be, you know, X amount by a company to do that. If I went out and hired a sanding machine and did it myself, that's a massive amount of labour, everything else. And then when I weighed it up, I thought, yes, personally, I'd love to see it, but is it really worth it? And in terms of value, how much value am I going to add to this? It's a rent to rent. I don't own the building. You know, is it going to make a huge difference to a guest experience? Not necessarily. So unfortunately, I do kind of have to think about those kind of things.
But we all do. It happens all the time.
I know.
You just reevaluate. It's like,
maybe not.
And where do you get your interior inspiration from?
I think I do follow sort of interior trends to a certain extent, because you'll see a lot of influences. I think this year it's huge, sort of foliage and sort of lots of greenery and things like that. That is a real inspiration. So kind of saying, like, how can I use that in the different places? Looking at, you know, industrial's been big for a couple of years, and sort of going, right, need to make it cost effective, etc. Do I necessarily need like brick slips, which are going to cost me a few? Can I get tiles, or can I get wallpaper? Yes, I can. You know, and you can get that kind of effect through other ways as well. So I do follow sort of interior style trends as such. And then looking at Pinterest, which is a huge source of inspiration. Instagram, once again, there's so many brilliant Instagram accounts that can give you so much in terms of, you know, influence of that as well. I tend not to sort of buy magazines anymore. I don't know about you. It tends to just be internet based. I think find a designer that you like, that echoes your vision, and, you know, somebody that really sort of epitomises how you want to do it. And then pick out a few key features and sort of take it from there. I think one thing that I've really learned is don't commit to a big percentage of your room in a not bold colour as much, but just commit to. I remember speaking to somebody and she said, yeah, I love blue. She's like, I'm gonna get a blue leather sofa, and I said, that's going to be great this year, where blues, you know, really deep sort of blues, beautiful. But in 5 years' time, you're not going to love it. So, you know, think more neutral, think about throws, think about your accessories in those block colours. Then it's a case of, you know, £100 and you've revamped your whole room in 2 years when you're fed up of the colour. So I think if you aim to keep your room at, say, 70% of a neutral colour, and then go 20%, you know, your first accent colour, that can be a little bit more daring, and then 10% is your pop colour. You know, go for, you know, you might want to go sort of blue as your 20% colour, and then you can go for green, a lovely rich green. You can go for a coral pink, you can go for a white, you can go for a yellow. So just kind of playing around with that. And the high street's brilliant for it. Matalan, Dunelm, Home Bargains, B&Q. They're my go-to places. Like, I very rarely for a project will go anywhere apart from those places. And brilliant 30-day returns policy. Bring it home, try it out in different ways. Right, love that, don't love that. That works. Oh, I never thought about that. You know, take it back and use that. Use it to your advantage. But, you know, there are a couple of designers that I love for my own home that I wouldn't necessarily put in an essay. You know, Sophie Patterson is incredible. She does a lot of Chelsea projects. A lady that works in Dubai, Lily from Escape Homes, who has a brilliant Instagram account, and a lot of her stuff is IKEA, and knobs are changed, colours are changed, you wouldn't even recognise it, logos on it. So she's so good at sort of showing you what's available, what's achievable out there. So I think in terms of looking at influences, pick a little bit of what you like, and just be mindful that what you like isn't what everybody else likes. So that's why I think going with the trends is a bit easier, because it's, you know, it's a general consensus of what's selling at the moment. You might be into, you know, orange and pink and yellow on every wall, but it might not necessarily work for the rental market.
Definitely, because obviously everyone's taste is so different, so it's just like, oh, just in case. And what advice have you got for other women who might be wanting to dip their toe in?
It's scary, but I think once you deal with the failure, or the fear of failure, which is sometimes worse than the actual failure, isn't it? You talk yourself, you create this movie in your mind of, well, this could happen and that could happen and it's going to be like that and it's going to happen. And actually, if you remake that movie in your mind of, right, okay, what's best case scenario, what could happen? And I think just sort of training your brain to think differently and trying to think a little bit more positively, and sort of take, you know, not risks, but calculated decisions, as opposed to taking risks. Find a good place to go and get property education. It doesn't have to necessarily be expensive. There's loads of resources out there. There's lots of free webinars that happen. There's, you know, groups on Facebook, etc. that do that. I guess I'm quite lucky in the sense that I've been involved in helping my husband create the Elite Property Tribe. So I've met lots of other property investors, and it's a huge network now, and lots of women as well who have done incredibly well. And sort of kind of connecting to them and see them like that. But I think women that are worried about changing jobs, because, you know, I was a teacher, to go from teaching to property is a huge jump. But now, like, I manage my own diary. There's lots of benefits to it. So I think a lot of it is about just kind of taking the plunge and just going, right, as long as I've got a backup plan or something else, and I'm nervous about starting, you know, let me set myself achievable goals. I'm going to do this. Ask for help as well.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. If you know, you'll always know somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah.
Ask for help if you need it. Have your backup plan, and just go for it. You know, and don't let anything hold you back. But likewise, like don't believe everything you hear as well.
Yeah,
you know, there's so many people like, yeah, I can make a millionaire by the end of the year, and it's just like, well,
yeah.
no, it's hard work, you know yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, and I definitely had it where people were saying to me like, oh, it's so easy, and then it comes to it and it's like, oh my days, like, it's so hard. Yeah.
And the stuff that you do, you think, oh, I'm going to stand there as an interior stylist and put that there and put that there. I scrub the floors. I literally get shouted by my husband, why have you picked up those heaters from the roofing? You know, so it's like my day is not about doing all of the pretty things. There's a lot of graft. But it comes with any job.
Yeah.
You would get it in retail, you get it in office work, you know, you'd get it if you're a lawyer, you get it if you're a teacher, you get it in everything. It's just about sort of managing your expectation to expecting that it's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really nice that you've sort of really played to your strengths with interior design. So instead of kind of looking at other things and being like, oh, I want to learn this, which might not be a strength, you've gone for interior and you can pick up the other things like along the way.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I think I know what I'm good at.
Yeah.
You know, and I know what my husband's good at. And eventually I can say to him, right, tell me about, you know, how does that strategy work?
Yeah.
What's the difference between a rent-to-rent and a lease option? And it's just little bits of information that you'll kind of pick up and then I remember a few days ago I was training one of his new assistant, and I was going, right, okay, we're going to do some business mapping now. We're going to create the vision. This is the vision. The vision is that, you know, because he owns a property app as well where he sources and sells a lot of property deals.
Yeah.
Which was my idea. He won't admit it. Completely my idea. And you know, in sort of training her about the app and about all of the things that he's involved in, and just how social media feeds into that, how, you know, the Elite Property Tribe feeds into that, how, you know, how everything kind of connects. And I just thought, and I had a moment of, I actually know a lot.
Yeah.
And I never give myself credit for it. So I'm like, I'm actually good at this.
Yeah, exactly. You've got it down. Oh, amazing. So tell me a bit more about your life outside of property.
Property isn't just my only thing. So I'm a chairperson of a charity, and what do we do? We're a grant making charity. So we've got a group of donors or wealthy donors who are sort of hedge fund managers and work in finance in London, and they look for places to be able to put their charity projects or their money, and they don't have the time necessarily to go out and find all these projects. So we're a group of trustees, and we go out and we look for worthy projects. And it's we're working with a hospital in Pakistan, in quite a remote part of Pakistan, and a school as well.
Amazing.
And we support them. So it's not necessarily a point of just kind of going, here's all the money. It's just, you know, so I go out and do project visits, and I'll go and see them, and, you know, I'll support them where I can in terms of with the school. I can say, right, this is what your teacher training should look like. Let me help you with this. And, you know, so sort of looking at all of that. We also support King Edward's Grammar with some of their projects where over the summer they do a summer programme for children from quite deprived areas or underprivileged children, to kind of make them aware that, you know what, there are assisted places out there for a grammar school. It's not a case of where it's unachievable for you.
Yeah.
So we did that for a couple of years. I work with the Refugee support network not far from here, and we funded one of their projects where child refugees that come to the UK often have no support, or they're in assisted like living spaces, etc. And what the Refugee Support Network do is find them mentors in the city. And the mentors work on, you know, it can be maths and English with them, it can be coursework, it can be just developing their English or their social skills. And work with them over sort of 6 months plus, and develop them as people.
Amazing.
And that's an absolutely incredible charity that sort of does that. So, you know, that's kind of the other part of me when I'm not sort of in property and not teaching. I still do a bit of supply teaching because I still feel like I need my identity. And, you know, interior is my passion. I'll often go to friends' houses and like, thought about moving that there. Let me get you to opt in something lovely for this. So yeah, I still kind of do a little bit of that. But You know, as well as that, I feel like I don't know if you saw, I went to Paul McKenna's show the other night.
No, I didn't see that.
It was incredible.
Was it?
Yes. Life change. Like he's doing a few others, only doing a select few. And I don't know if you've ever read the book or sort of seen any other stuff of his, but he'll often say, he goes, what we forget to do, he goes, you know, as humans we think, we don't ever realise that we have to be taught to think in a certain way.
Yeah.
So that's what he does. He teaches you how to use your brain as a way of kind of visualising success.
I love that.
As opposed to sort of creating a situation where you kind of keep that negativity within you when somebody's hurt you with their words and everything. You put it in here, don't you? And it becomes this massive, horrible, grey thing that absorbs you. And he teaches you how to disengage by putting it at arm's length, and sort of disengaging from that experience. And visualising about sort of. One of the things that he did the other day, and it stuck with me ever since, was he said, if everything went 100% perfect for you over this next year, right? Everything worked, everything went well, exactly how you would want it to, what would your life look like a year from now?
Yeah.
Right, and he goes, visualise it. And he goes, make the colours brighter, make it louder, take yourself out of that situation, watch yourself in that picture. What's your picture like? So you create this in your mind and you watch it and you go, yeah, I'd be doing this, and I'd be doing clients, and I'd be doing this, and I'd be able to do this and that project, and I'd like to do like a co-living space, and I'd created all these things. And he goes, right now, 3 months back, what does your life look like? 6 months back, right? 9 months. And that's what you do. And I guess that, in terms of like vision setting and goal setting, and it's so powerful. Like, if you think a year from now, where do I want to be? What's it going to look like? And once you can see it, you can do it.
I love that. I'm gonna have to look into
really
that.
Good. It was brilliant. Absolutely amazing.
That's
amazing. You can find him on lots of social media and things like that. So I think working on myself is a big part of sort of my journey going forward now. And the better I am up here, the better I am sort of on the shop floor, so to speak.
Definitely. Oh, I love that. I'm so interested in this, like, Paul McKenna.
It's really good. Because I looked into sort of Tony Robbins. And have you seen him on? I think he's doing a series on. He did a show on Netflix.
I've seen it. I haven't watched it, but I saw it.
Tony Robbins is really good, but he really kind of makes you think about yourself. But I think what Paul McKenna did was give you tools to make a difference to it. And I think that was the difference for me, where I could actually go, right, okay. And then he talked about a lot about your values. What are your values? And for me, I said, okay, honesty is a value. I'd want somebody to be like this with me, and I think that's really important. And being true to yourself and building yourself. And he goes, no. He goes, if you think about your true self, like if everything worked in your life for a year, and you were the ultimate being of you, everything was perfect and everything was the way that you would always want it to be. What would you be surrounded by? Who would be there? How would that be? When I visualised it in my mind, I'd be a mum where I was supportive and understanding, and I'd be great with my kids. I'm not bad as a mum, but I'm a teacher mum, so a little bit of that. I'm telling you, and I'd probably just develop my relationship with my children in a different way, and more of what I aspired when I first was pregnant in terms of a parent. And you lose that. I think when you get pregnant, you think, I'm going to be like this, I'm going to do that, and then when you have your kids and it's the daily grind, and you think, I've forgotten what I've actually set out here. So I think that would have been one of my values. Because what he was saying was, all of these things that you aspire and all of the things that you want and your perfect self are your values. My relationship with my husband, married 10 years, and I think you get to a point where it just ticks along, doesn't it? And it's just kind of going, no, actually we're better than this. We've got all these resources, and we've got, we're really lucky that we can go on holidays and we can do all these things. Like, are we making the most of it? So kind of looking at that aspect, and then my career as well. I think, I was really down a year and a half ago, because I just felt like I quit teaching. That was me. I'd wanted to be a teacher since I was 5, and I don't have that anymore. Nobody's going to touch me now because I've been out of schools for too long, and what else am I going to do? And there's nothing else I can do. So kind of going from that and just realising actually that's a value that's important to me. So just kind of reevaluating all of that and taking stock and just being okay with sort of saying, you're all right. It doesn't all have to be done right now, but just do a little bit every day. So,
definitely. I love it.
Just kind of growing as a person, and and meeting other incredible women that are on this journey, and for it not to be I'm not as good as that, but actually going, right, okay, she's going to help me and support me in this, and she's going to inspire me, and I'm going to do the same. And I think knowing how to be a good woman, just part of the sisterhood. I think I've met some inspirational women that are they just lift you up, and they've got that gift to do that for you, and it's like, well, right now she's shown me how to do that, I've got to do that for somebody else. So just to be a better woman as well, and just kind of take that energy out there,
and inspire others.
I'd hope so.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people will find this really inspiring, for sure. It's so nice to hear about your life outside of property as well. I think, I guess property is for you, well, I don't know if I'm right, but it's like a tool to almost allow you to live the amazing life you want to live. And do what you want to do. It's not just property. It's like it's allowing you to do other things you really want to do.
I think being in a sort of a property couple, it can take over your life when you get home and that's all you talk about. And I think sometimes you kind of have to sort of say, right, disengaging. The place that we've got down in Cornwall, we'll often go down there, you get no phone signal, the Wi-Fi's rubbish, and you do just put your phone down and you go to the beach and you go to the cafe and you just feel like you're away from it. You come back and you're refreshed and things like that. So I think there's a whole other life out there, and it is a means to an end, isn't it? Because ultimately you're not going to be on your deathbed and go, I wish I'd spent another day working.
Exactly.
I wish I'd worried less, and I wish I'd spent more time with my family and my kids. So that's what you've got to ultimately do. But
amazing.
Oh,
lovely.
Thank you very much.
I feel like people get really good golden nuggets from this.
I hope so.
Yeah, of course.
You don't have to know it all, but I think start somewhere and know somebody who does know, and just be open to. I think be open to hearing things that are tough things to say, and I've got a friend who's she's just good for the soul, and sometimes when I speak to her, she said, she'll often say to me this is criticism now, it's constructive criticism, and she always says to me, are you ready to hear it? And you can actually say, no, I'm not ready yet, I'm just not in the frame, I'll come back to you when I'm ready to hear it. And other times you can go to her and be like, right, tell me what. And then and you need those people in your life.
Definitely.
Something that I know that in terms of my relationship, I'm really working on with my husband, because I'm a teacher, I'm the one that's in charge. He's a property investor, and he has lots of mentees that come to him, and he's the one in charge there. Whereas when you're working with somebody like that, you're a little bit like, oh, I know how to do this. And then you're a bit like, don't tell me what to do. So I think kind of finding your balance and being humble enough to kind of go, okay, I know you're better at this, and and doing all of that.
Really play into each other's strengths. Definitely. Oh, amazing.
Be able to just kind of walk away from it when it gets too much. Or 10.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on my channel. Where can people find you?
So I think Instagram's probably the best bet. That Property Life is my Instagram. And I'm on Facebook, but I don't update it much, and that tends to be the family Facebook. So That Property Life. I'm always looking to expand my portfolio, so if you've got a project or if you've got something that you'd like some help, inspiration, consultation with, as you know, I'm cheap, I don't spend much, and I can work with what people are looking for. So that's where I'm at.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on my channel again. And thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. My Instagram is @Leah_Miller. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.